Verse. You were not born to be average. You were not born to doubt yourself. Somewhere along the way, verse, life conditioned you to settle for less than what you're capable of. But deep inside you there is a fire. It's been barriers, covered up by fear, by rejection, by failure. But hear me loud and clear, confidence is not a gift you wait for. Verse, it's a moth that every breakthrough begins with belief. Not in your circumstances, not in you, but your talent. Verse, when you decide to step into your power, your whole life changes. The world doesn't give you confidence. You reacts to the level of confidence you project. And that starts with one decision. I will no longer live small. Verse. Unstoppable confidence is not about being loud. It's about being certain. It's not alignment. When your thoughts, your reversions, your actions are in harmony, you become unshakable. When you train your mind daily, feed your body energy, verse, and condition soul to expect, create momentum. And momentum. That's when confidence becomes a weapon. Verse. Let me ask you something. What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail? Who will you become if fear wasn't your governor? Verse. What happened if you stopped asking for permission? You want to build confidence. Get uncomfortable. Face what you fear. Verse. Do the thing that terrifies you once but daily. Confidence isn't built by thinking. It's built by doing. By showing up. Verse. Again until your mind catches up with your vision. You've got to remember, motion creates emotion. Verse. You move your body like a champion, you'll start feeling like one. You speak like someone who believes in their destiny. Verse. Will start carrying weight. You condition your mind to reject negativity, and you will rewire your identity. Verse. You already have everything need inside of you. You've just been waiting for permission to access it. Well, to you now, we up the war. Start apologizing for wanting more. Stop hiding your greatness. Stand up, speak up, verse. Show up and watch what happens when the real you walks into the room, verse. The world makes room for the man who knows where they're going. You want unstoppable confidence, verse. That move like dreams depend on it, they do. Stop playing small. Stop letting fear rent space in your head. Born to dominate your space, not survive in it. And from this moment forward, verse, you don't wait to feel confident, you act like it, walk like it, speak like it, verse. Until confident choice but to rise and meet you. You want unstoppable confidence, verse. Then become the person you've been waiting for. Let's go, let me tell you something straight, verse. Confidence aren't something you wait around for. It's not a feeling that magically appears when everything is perfect, verse. When you're finally successful or when people start believing you. Confidence is a decision, verse. It's a choice you make before you have all the evidence, before the world applauds, before you even feel ready. Because people have it backward. They think, once I'm confident, then I'll take action. But that's not how it works, verse. You've got to take action first with courage. That's what breeds confidence. Confidence is a muscle. And like any muscle, verse, grow by sitting still. It grows and it's tested. And the first test is always the same. Verse. Can decide to believe in yourself even when there's no proof that you should. Can you bet on yourself when the odds don't look good? Can you look in the mirror and say, I got this, even when your mind is screaming otherwise? That's the decision I'm talking about. The decision to become confident, even if everything in your past says you shouldn't be. I've met thousands of people who are incredibly talented, verse. Incredibly, they're stuck. Why? Because they're waiting for confidence to come and rescue them. They're waiting for a moment where everything lines up, when there's no more fear, when success feels guaranteed, verse. And then the truth, that moment doesn't exist. You don't become confident and then move, you move. And confidence follows, verse. Every time you should take a step forward when you're uncertain, you're planting a seed. That seed is your belief in yourself. Belief doesn't show up like a lightning bolt. It builds little by little every time you follow through, verse. Every time a promise to yourself. Every time you take the uncomfortable action, verse. The tiny decision turns into something massive. It becomes your identity. Not just something you do, something you are, verse. And here's the secret most people miss. The way you decide to be confident affects how the world sees you, verse. When you walk into a room and you've already chosen to own your space, people feel that. You don't need to shout. Time you reverse. Real confidence is calm. It doesn't seek approval, it projects certainty. Verse. But it only shows you've already made the internal decision that you belong, that you're enough, that you're ready. Verse. So many outside yourselves for validation. You're waiting for someone to give you permission. For someone to say, enough now. You can spup, you can speak, you can lead. But let me ask you, what if no one ever says that to you? Verse. What permission never comes? Then what? Will you shrink? Will you settle? Verse. Or will you be the one who decides to become who you were meant to be without waiting for applause? Verse. You to feel this at cellular level. The moment you decide to be confident, everything changes. You move differently. Verse. You speak differently. Your energy shifts. And to respond to that, they don't respond to your talent first. Verse. They respond to your certainty. And certainty comes from the decision that you've already made, that you are enough. Got what it takes. That no matter what happens, we'll figure it out. You don't need 100% confidence to act. % more confidence than fear. That's just enough to tip the scale, just to take the first step. And once you do, it kicks in. And momentum is the game changer. But it starts with that one moment. That one breath, verse. Then bold choice to stop doubting and start moving. You want to become unstoppable. Then stop asking, verse. What can do, then start declaring, I'm doing this. Stop waiting for the fears to appear and start deciding that your mission is bigger than your doubt. Because the truth is, verse, the people who make the biggest impact aren't the ones who felt ready or the who decide they were. Make that decision now. Because when you decide, everything else starts to align. Your body responds. Your mind focuses. Your action gains power. Verse. Right there is when confidence goes from a wish to a weapon. You don't wait for confidence. You decide it. Reverse. Every time you reverse. Let me use something most people overlook. Confidence isn't something you wake up with. It's something you train first. Just like your body needs fuel, your mind needs the right conditioning every single day. Brush your teeth once and expect a lifetime of freshness. Verse. So why would you feeding your mind once is enough to build lasting confidence? You've got to condition it repeatedly. Verse. Consistently and intentionally. Your mind is a battlefield. Every day it's under attack by fear, by doubt. Verse. By the opinions of others. By the voice in your head that says you're not enough. And if you don't take control of what goes into it, verse, then you've already lost. Starts with what you allow into your mental space, verse. Because you consume mentally becomes what you believe. And what you believe is what you act on, verse. The people walk into a room with presence, with certainty, with clarity. They are not lucky, verse. They've trained their minds to think differently. They don't just react to life. They create the mindsets that supports their outcomes, verse. They build a mental environment that fuels belief, power, and momentum. And it all starts with daily conditioning. A single day, you have to prime your mind like your life depends on it, because it does. Ask yourself, do I feed my mind with when I wake up? What do I allow to live rent-free in my head? Is it self-doubt? Is comparison disguised as logic? Or am I feeding with belief systems that push me forward? Verse. Conscious is not just about saying affirmations in the mirror. Verse. It's about reprogramming the internal script that's been playing for years. That script that says, I'm not good enough, verse. Or by always mess things up. People like me don't succeeded. You have to erase that and write a new one. But that won't happen on its own. You have to condition it just like you condition your body in the gym. When you wake up, verse, before the world gets to you, get you. That's the moment. That's when you take charge. You start your day not by reacting, verse, but by creating your mind what's possible. You tell your heart who you are. You don't ask, verse, but how do I feed a day decide how you install belief? You anchor strength. You rehearse your goals. Time you verse, visualize your wins. You don't wait for confidence to build it. And let's be honest, this isn't always going to be easy. Mind will resist it, especially if it's been conditioned for years by fear and failure. But repetition the key. Verse. Repetition is how you take a weak but then make it unshakable. The more you reinforce a message, it becomes truth to your brain. And once it becomes truth, your behavior changes. You stop holding back when playing small. You stop hesitating when opportunity knocks. That's the power of mental conditioning to build unstoppable confidence. Then your morning be filled with scrolling through negativity, reacting emails, verse, or consumer-based headlines. You need to create a ritual, something that tunes your mind to victory. Maybe it's movement, verse, it's meditation. Maybe it's writing out your goals, shouting your affirmations, or reading something that fuels your soul. Every verse, make it non-negotiable. Because if you don't program yourself, life will program you. And here's the kicker, verse, the condition your mind, the less power fear has. You'll notice it. The same situations that anxiety now become opportunities. The same challenges that once crushed you now energize you. Why? Because you've trained your mind to interpret things differently. That's what confidence is, verse. It's not the absence of fear, it's the ability to act powerfully despite it. You don't need motivation every day. Motivation is fleeting. What you need is a system, a conditioning process that works even on the days you don't feel like it. Reverse. Because those are the days that count the most. Those are the days when champions are made, not when it's easy, but when it's hard. Verse. And you still to train your mind like your future depends on it. Confidence is not just built in the spotlight. It's forged in the dark when no one's watching. It's born in your rituals. Verse. It's shaped by the things you whisper to yourself when you're alone. Time you reverse. And when you control that voice, fill your mind with powerful, empowering, energizing thoughts, you become unstoppable. Here's the strongest weapon you will ever have. Is a conditioned mind. You want confidence, verse. Then get out of your head into massive action. That's the real secret. Because you can read all the books, verse. Repeat all the affirmations, watch all the motivational videos, but none of that matters if you don't move, verse. Thinking doesn't build confidence. Doing does. Confidence is earned. It's not a feeling that floats down and taps you on the shoulder, verse. It's the result of showing up again, even when you're scared, when you're unsure, even when everything in you says, verse, I can't. You've got to understand action is what breaks the pattern of fear. Fear grows in hesitation, verse. Fear thrives in overthinking. The longer you sit there, the more reasons your mind invents for why you're not ready, verse. Why you're not good enough, why it might not work. But the moment you move, the moment you take that first step, verse, everything in physiology shifts. Your emotions start to rise. Your identity begins to evolve, verse. Because now you're not someone who's thinking about doing it, you're someone who's doing it, verse. I've seen peoples in cycles of self-doubt for years and then boldest step, one massive action, verse, and moving starts to realign. Not because their situation changed overnight, but because they changed. Reverse. Big action creates evidence, and that evidence becomes a foundation for belief. You start collecting proof that you're capable, verse. That you're resilient, that you're stronger than you thought. And with every win, no matter how small, your confidence grows. Build self-trust by waiting for the perfect conditions. You build it by keeping promises to yourself. You build it by doing the hard things. You build it by being uncomfortable and doing it anyway. That's where the magic is. Verse. If you wait until you're no longer afraid of doing anything, But if you take action in spite of fear, fears show up to meet you. You've got to stop living in theory. So many people are paralyzed by planning. They are stuck in preparation mode, waiting for the right time, the right mood, the right opportunity. But life doesn't reward the planner, it rewards the doer. So stop asking, but what if it doesn't work? And start asking, do right now to move 1 inch forward. Forward is where the growth is. Forward is where confidence is built. You don't need to see whole staircases, you just need to take the first step. And then the next. And then the next. Is your best friend. The moment you move is a lineage follow. Focus follows, strength follow, and suddenly some person who was sitting there stuck. You're in motion, and motion changes everything. Why most people never build confidence? Because they're obsessed with avoiding failure. They want certainty before they act. But confidence isn't built in comfort, it's built through resistance. Through falling down and realizing you can get back up. Through making mistakes and discovering they didn't break you. You've got to be willing to fail in order to win. Because ever you push through that fear and act anyway, you strip fear of its power. And you gain power in return. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be in the game. Confidence isn't reserved for the smartest, the strongest, or the most talented. It belongs to those who act, who show up when it's inconvenient, who keep going when it gets hard. It belongs to those who don't wait to feel ready, move, they grow, they earn it. Action is how you prove yourself that you are capable. It's how you build trust. It's how you write your story. The version that you're trying to become. That version only emerges through repetition, through experience, through taking and learning to stand taller after each one. You won't get that sitting on the sidelines. You've got to get in the arena. And the beautiful thing is you don't need to get it right every time. You just need to be willing to move, willing to try, willing to fail forward. And as you day after day, step after step, your confidence won't just grow, it'll become unshakable. Because you'll know deep in your bones, that you just hope you can handle what comes next. You know you can. Because you've trained for it. And confidence always belongs to the one who's willing to act. If you really want to change your life, if you want to build unstoppable confidence, you have to understand the connection between your body and yours. Most people are trying to fix that while they sit slouch over breathing shallow, head down, scrolling on a screen. And they wonder why they can't feel strong, why they can't feel confident. But the truth is your physiology drives psychology. The way your body tells your brain exactly how to feel. You move like a victim, you'll start thinking like one. You move later, your brain starts believing you are one. Everything starts with energy. Confidence and something into existence. It's something you generate. You do that through your body to feel powerful. Then stand like it. Breathe, move like it. If you're walking a room with your shoulders hunched, your head low, and your eyes glued to the floor, you're sending a signal to your nervous system. I'm not certain. I don't belong here. But if you straighten up, open your chest, hold your head high, take deep breath, and step in with presence, everything changes. Your brain picks up a new signal and begins to shift. You don't wait to feel confident to move confidently. That's the illusion that holds people back. You move first. You create the feeling by generating the state. You're created by motion. You change your motion, you change your emotions. You get up and move your body with intensity, even just for a minute, you'll feel the difference instantly. Your energy spikes. Your focus sharpens. Your inner dialogue shifts from I can't to well, let's go. You think about the most confident people you've seen. They don't slink at a roo hoping no one notices them. They walk with intention. There's a rim to their movement, groundedness to their posture. They don't wait for the room to give them permission to own their space. That's not magic. That's training. They've conditioned their bodies to signal strength, presence. And certainly even on the days when their minds might be struggling. When you master your physiology yourself, the fastest access to a confident state. That's the beauty of it. Not be able to control the thoughts that pop into your mind, but you can control how you sit, how you breathe, how yourself. You control your posture, your pace, your gestures, You can shift your second just by changing the way you use your body, And when you stack the physical shift with mental conditioning and bold action, you become unstoppable, I've seen people in a room looking defeated, anxious and unsure. All I had to do was get them moving, jumping, breathing, standing tall in minutes. They were a different person. Not because life had changed, but because they changed, Their state shift, their power switched on. And that's available to you anytime you choose it, Confidence a mystery, it's a state. And states are created, not found. Every time you slump, you're reinforcing weakness, Every time you sigh deeply with your shoulders caving, and you're feeding your nervous system signals of stress and surrender, But every time you stand up tall, breathe deeply, and move with energy, you are rewiring your brain towards uncertainty. Your body is your tool, use it with purpose. You can have the best minds and strategies in the world, but if your physiology contradicts them, it's like trying to sprint with the brakes on. You've got to align both. Your thoughts, your body energy have to be working together. That's when you hit peak state. That's when confidence becomes natural, not because you fit before you became it. So the next time you're about to make a call you're nervous about, walk to a meeting, go for an interview, step onto a stage, stop, take a breath, check your posture, center your energy, move your body like someone who's already won. Your brain will follow, your words will shift, your outcomes will elevate, because your entire system will be aligned with certainty. Confidence doesn't live in your thoughts alone, it lives in how you show up, it lives how you carry yourself. When your body speaks the language of strength, the world starts to listen. If you're serious about building real confidence, the kind that doesn't crumble under pressure, you have to get comfortable. One thing most people spend their entire lives avoiding, facing your fear. Not ignoring it, not waiting for it to go away, stare in the face and walk toward it. Every time you avoid fear, it grows. Every time you confront it, you grow. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it's the ability to take bold action in presence of fear. Most people live small as they believe fear is a stop sign. They feel fear and assume it means I don't move. But fear isn't there to stop you. It's a signal. It shows you where your growth lies. The very thing you're afraid is the thing that will set you free. That conversation you're avoiding, that decision you're scared to make, that you've been hesitating on, that's exactly where you need to go. Because confidence lives on the other side of that resistance. Every breakthrough in your life, everyone will be preceded by a moment of fear. It's the price of growth. It's what you pay for stepping into a new level of yourself. And if you're not feeling fear, chances are you're not playing big enough. You're staying where it's safe, where it's predictable. Nothing challenges your identity, but the comfort zone is a liar. It promises security, but it robs you of your power. You've got to be willing to feel fear and still move anyways. Powerful shift you can make is to start seeing fear as a compass. When it's sharp, don't run. Get curious. Ask yourself, time you reverse. What does this fear say about who I think I am, who I could become? I push through it. Fear is your enemy. Fear is your invitation to grow. It's the resistance that builds the muscle. Just like in you don't grow by lifting what's easy. You grow by pushing through what's heavy. Confidence when you consistently face your fears and survive. When you do the hard thing, your brain rewires. It says, afraid, but why did it anyway? And look it and die. I didn't fall apart. I made it. That builds resilience, builds trust. That builds a track record you can lean on when the next fear shows up. You start realizing, hey, maybe I'm capable I gave myself credit for. That's where real confidence is born, not from theory, from books, from experience. You can't intellectualize your way into courage. You have to practice it. Every time you say, I'll wait until I'm not afraid, you're training your nervous system to retreat. You're wiring yourself to shrink under pressure. But every time feel fear and say, but let's go anyway, you're teaching yourself to expand, to stretch, to rise. And the more you do it, the easier it becomes. You don't eliminate fear, you just stop letting it control you. I know some of you are thinking, but what if I fail? You will. That's part of the process. Failing doesn't mean you're weak. In time you're human. But every time you fail, you collect wisdom. You gain insight. You build scar tissues. And scar tissue becomes part of your strength. Confidence doesn't mean you'll never fall. It means you get back stronger, wiser, more prepared. You stop being failure because you trust yourself to rise through it. One of the most powerful things you can do is make fear your training ground. Instead of avoiding discord, start chasing it. Start putting yourself in situations that stretch you. Say yes to the things, the conversation you make, the pitch. Speak up. Walk into rooms you feel unqualified to be in. That's how you expand. That's how you grow. That's how you evolve from someone who doubts into someone who dominates. The truth is, courage is a choice. And every time you choose into fear, every time you step here instead of away from it, you build a little more confidence. Not because the fear goes away, but because you stop being afraid of being afraid. You start trusting that can the fear and still move powerfully. And when that becomes your patterns, there's nothing that can hold you back. Because fear only wins when you let it. Confidence wins when you face it. Let's talk about something most people never realize. The words you speak are shaping your reality, moment by moment. If you want unstoppable confidence, it's not just about what you do, it's about what you say. Because your language is the thermostat of your life. It sets the tone. It defines your experience. And here's the truth. You cannot speak like a victim and expect to feel like a leader. You cannot say, I'm not good at this, and hope to build confidence. The words you choose either reinforce your power or they drain it. Every time you say, I'm not ready, I can't, I'm terrible at this, you're counts for a weaker version of yourself. And your mind listens. Your nervous system responds. You begin to live out the story you're speaking. And you may not even realize it because for many people, it's become a habit, a subtle, unconscious pattern of disempowering language that chips away at their confidence little by little. But here's the shift. Just like you train your body, just like condition your mind, you've got to discipline your mouth. You've got to speak like the person you're becoming, not the one you're trying to outgrow. You have to use your words like tools, not weapons, that build belief. Tools that reinforce who you are at your best. Tools that shape your identity in a way that serves your future, not your past. Start paying attention to your self-talk, especially when you're under pressure. That's when it matters most. What do you say to yourself when things go wrong? When you're rejected, a mistake? Because most people are ruthless with themselves in those moments. They say things they'd never say to someone they love. And they don't realize those words are not just expressions. They're instructions. Instruct your brain. Instructions to your body. Instructions to your identity. You have to make the internal shift from tearing yourself down to building yourself up. From I always mess things up at to I'm learning fast. From I'm not confident to I'm becoming more confident every day. From I'm nervous to I'm excited and ready. It's not about lying to yourself. It's about leading yourself. You don't wait for the confidence to show up. You speak like it's already there and your psychology follows. Think about the words you use and describe yourself to others. Do you downplay your talents? Do you pre-apologize for who you are? Do you constantly talk about what you're not instead of what you are? That's not humility, that's self-sabotage disguised as modesty. And you've got to stop it. You've got to speak like someone who respects themselves, someone who honors their gifts, someone who understands that their words carry weight, not just with others, but with themselves. Words are not neutral. They are energy. They either move you forward or pull you back. And the people who build real, lasting confidence, who speak of life into themselves, strength. They speak clarity. They speak possibility, especially when it's hardest to do so. They don't give their doubts a microphone. They give their vision a voice. You've got to understand it creates focus. What you consistently talk about becomes what you focus on. And what you focus on expands. So if you constantly say, I'm overwhelmed, don't be surprised if that's all you feel. But if you say, I'm figuring this out one step time, your brain starts searching for solutions instead of problems. Your language is the lens you experience life through. Change, and you change the lens. You want to feel different. Start speaking different. You want to show up with more certainty. Then start using words that reinforce certainty. Say what you want to believe, not your fears whispering. Speak your goals into existence. Speak your identity into alignment. Speak your future in the present until it becomes real. And don't just say it once. Say it until it becomes your normal. Say it until it no longer feels like a stretch. Say it until your body believes it. Repetition rewires your brain. So when you speak powerfully, consistently, with intensity, you build a foundation so strong that fear has no room to live. Confidence isn't only built through action, it's reinforced through language. And the most powerful thing you can do starting right now is to become intentional with every word you speak. Because the words you speak over your life become the world you live in. If you want to build unstoppable confidence, you have to train your mind to see the outcome before it even exists. You have to visualize your success with absolute certainty. Not hope, not maybe I'll try. Now I'm talking about seeing it so clearly, so vividly, that your brain begins to like reality. Because the truth is, your mind doesn't know the difference between you deeply imagine and something that's actually happened. That's a powerful advantage if you use it intentionally. Most people use their imagination to create fear. They rehearse failure before it ever happens. They see themselves stumbling, being judged, falling short. And then they wonder why they feel anxious, insecure, and stuck. But that's not because they lack confidence. It's because they rehearsed the wrong outcome so many times. It's become familiar. Your nervous system adapts to what you feed it. If you feed it fear, it learns to expect fear. But if you feed it certainty, over and over again, it starts believing in what's possible. It starts expecting success. So ask yourself, what are you visualizing every day? When you wake up, do you picture struggle or do you picture victory? When you walk to that meeting, that interview, that conversation, are you seeing yourself crush it or are you anticipating failure? Because whatever you see, you start to move toward. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you believe. And visualization is how you build belief. I'm not talking about wishful thinking. This isn't sitting or imagining yourself rich and famous without putting in the work. I'm talking about mental conditioning yourself, executing with confidence, visualizing yourself pushing through resistance, achieving your goals, and feeling the emotions that come with it. The more real you can make it, the more your brain begins to map that future as something unachievable. And when that belief takes root, everything changes. You have to see yourself succeeding before the world sees it. That's how all transformation begins on the inside. You rehearse the moves in your mind before you ever take them in real life. That's how top athletes prepare. That's how elite performers elevate. They don't leave their mind to chance. They see every step. They feel every moment. They train themselves to experience the win they actually win. And when the moment comes, they don't freeze, they flow. Because they've been there before in their mind. Confidence grows when the vision becomes familiar, and the way to make is through repetition. Daily practice, consistency. Every morning, every night, take just a few minutes to close your eyes and see it. Not just the end goal, but the process. See yourself walking in with strength. Hear yourself speaking with clarity. Feel yourself stand tall, smiling. Own your space. Experience the emotion success now. So that when it happens, it feels natural, like it was always meant to be. And here's what happens when you do that consistently. You begin to override the noise, the doubts and the beliefs. You silence the voice that says, but who do you think you are, and replace it with voice that says, I've seen this. I prepared for this. I am this. And that's not arrogance. That's alignment. That's stepping into your future self before the world gives you permission. That's choosing to lead with instead of waiting for validation. You've got to stop reacting to life and start creating it. You're not here to play defense. You're here to build, to shape, to direct. And it starts by mastering the most powerful creative force you have, your imagination. Whatever you focus on with intensity, your brain begins to accept as truth. So focus on clarity. Focus on who you want to become, not who you've been. Confidence isn't just about what you've done in the past. It's about what you see in your future. And when you lock in that vision with certainty, when you train your mind to expect your body, your actions, your energy all begin to move in that direction. That's how momentum builds. That's how belief becomes behavior. That's how inner alignment creates outer results. So don't just prepare physically. Prepare mentally. See it before it's real. Walk through it in your mind like it's already yours. Because when you visualized your victory enough times, eventually without even realizing it, you step into it. And it feels just like coming home. ChatGPT said, if you really to build unshakable, unstoppable confidence, then you have to take a long, hard look at your environment, especially the people in it. Because no matter how strong your mindset is, no matter how disciplined you are, if you are constantly surrounded by energy drifters, by doubters, by people who talk small, think small, and live small, you're going to feel it. You can't swim a toxic pool every day and expect to come out clean. Proximity is power. Who you surround yourself with direct impact on who you become. Think about it when you're around people who believe in you, who push you, who challenge you to go higher. Something inside of you wakes up. Your standard mindset sharpens. You start thinking bigger. You start showing up differently. That's not coincidence, that's influence. It's invisible, but it's real. You start absorbing the energy around you whether you realize it or not. And that energy either fuels your confidence or feeds your doubt. Some people are walking or wondering why they can't stay motivated, why they keep falling back into self-doubt, why they can't maintain momentum, and it's not because they're broken in. It's because they're living in an environment that's working against them. You've got friends who laugh at your goals, who dismiss your ideas, who remind you of failures, who project their fears onto your future, and you're wondering why you feel stuck. That's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. Confidence is not just about what you do, it's about what you allow. And if you allow negativity, judgment, or mediocrity to surround you day after day, your brain starts to adapt to that level. You start shrinking to match the energy around you. But when you intentionally choose to raise your proximity, when you spend time with people who stretch your thinking, people who are further along than you, people who are fought to their fear, and build something meaningful, you elevate. You level up by association. You don't need cheerleaders who flatter you. You need truth-tellers who challenge you. You need people who hold you accountable to your greatness. People who see the strength in you even when you can't. People who won't let you settle, want you play small, and won't accept your excuses. That kind of support system, just a nice to have, it's essential for real confidence. Because there will be days when you forget who you are. Days when the fear feels heavy, when the vision feels blurry. When you feel tired and discouraged. On those days, you need voices around you that speak life into you. Not people who say, I told you it was too hard. But people who say, you've got this. You're made for more. Keep going. That kind of reinforcement Rewiring belief system. It reminds you of your mission when you can't feel it yourself. But let's be honest, sometimes the hardest part is letting go of people who don't support that vision. People you've known for years. People you care about. But just because someone has a history with you doesn't mean they deserve a front row seat in your future. You've got to pure energy like your life dependent, because it does. Not everyone gets access to you. Not everyone deserves a say in how far you go. And if you don't draw that boundary, you'll find yourself constantly shrinking to stake into people who aren't growing. That doesn't make you cold. That makes you clear. And clarity is a key ingredient of confidence. You're not cutting people off, you're committing to your mission. You're choosing an environment that reflects the future you're building, not the past you've outgrown. That's not easy, but it's necessary. And when you make that shift, when you surround yourself with builders, doers, creators, leaders, your whole energy changes. Suddenly biggest don't sound crazy. Growth becomes the norm. Momentum becomes your default. You're no longer trying to convince people that your dreams matter, they're reinforcing it. You're no longer begging for support surrounded by it. Your confidence doesn't just grow in isolation, it grows in community. A powerful environment is like oxygen, feeds your fire, keeps your vision alive, and reminds you every day that this is not only possible, expected. And when you stay close to that kind of energy long enough, something shifts inside you. You stop asking for permission. You stop shrinking your voice. You start owning who you are. Because when you're surrounded by power, you remember that you are powerful too. If there's one thing you must internalize to build unstoppable confidence, it's this. Failures is not the opposite of success, it's the foundation of it. Most people's confidence comes from always getting it right. They think if they avoid mistakes, they play it safe. If they never stumble, then they'll finally feel worthy, finally feel strong. But that mindset is backwards. True confidence comes from facing failure, not avoiding it. It comes from falling flat on your face and realizing you're still standing. Failure, rejection, loss, these aren't roadblocks. They're raw materials. They shape you. They expose where you're weak, yes, but they also reveal where you're strong. They teach you how much you can endure. They show you what needs to evolve. And if you're paying attention, if you've got the courage to lean into the lesson instead of running from the pain, you start to build something far more powerful than perfection. You build resiliency. Most people are paralyzed by the getting it wrong. They let the fear of failure talk them out of trying. They wait for certainty. They wait for permission. They wait until it's too safe. And in that waiting, they miss the very thing that would have changed everything: action. Because you can't learn confidence from theory. You learn it by stepping into the unknown. You learn it by risking embarrassment, by doing the thing before you feel ready, and discovering that even when you mess up, you can recover. That's where power is born. Every failure you face is an invitation to give up, but to level up. It's an opportunity to upgrade your standards, your systems, your skills. If you fail in business, great. You just found out what not doesn't work out. Get curious and refine. If a relationship fell apart, it's not a life sentence, it's feedback. Ask yourself, what patterns did I bring into it? What truth did I ignore? What strength did I gain from walking through it? Because there is always something there if you're willing to look at it honestly. And that's the key, not attaching your identity to the outcome. Confidence doesn't mean every outcome goes your way. It means your identity is strong enough to withstand when it doesn't. When you no longer need success to feel worthy, that's confidence. When you can fail publicly and still know your value, that's confidence. When you can face rejection, loss, or setback and say, this doesn't define me, this refines me, that's where the game changes. You were born with courage. You build it by walking through the fire. And the people who become unstoppable aren't the ones who avoided pain, they're the ones who used it. They didn't crumble when life got heavy, they got clear. They didn't stay down when they were knocked down, they got back up with more clarity, more strength, more hunger. They didn't let the world become their own, no. They just kept moving. And that's what separates those dream from those who do, the willingness to take hits and keep going. The refusal to let one failure become a full stop. Because failure is not final unless you make it final. You only lose when you stop learning. You only fail when you quit. So long as you're breathing, you're still in the game. But understand, this failure isn't just part of the process. It's a requirement. It's the resistance that builds your mental muscle. It's the contrast that makes you appreciate the win. It's the training ground for every breakthrough that's coming your way. And if you learn to embrace it, if you learn to extract the gold from it, you look back and realize your confidence didn't come from everything going right, it came from knowing you could survive what went wrong. You've got to stop worshiping perfection. You've got to stop hiding your flaws, your doubts, your setbacks. That's not real strength. Real strength is being in it in the messy, uncertain, gritty process of becoming, and still showing up with fire in your heart. Still showing up hungry. Still showing up believing that even in failure, your future is unfolding. You're not here to impress. You're here to express. You're not here to protect an image. You're here to grow. And growth is going to get messy. It's going to stretch you. It's going to test your identity. But when you stop avoiding that process, when you step into it with your whole heart, failure loses its grip on you. And confidence, it becomes your new baseline. Because the more failure you've walked through, the less you fear it. The less you fear it, the more bold action you take. And the more bold action you take, the more result. It's a cycle of courage, and you get to choose where it begins. So don't run from failure. Shake hands with it, learn from it, thank it, and then keep moving forward. Confidence doesn't just live in your mind, it lives in your physiology. It's in how you stand, how you breathe, how you move, how you show up before you even say a word. You could have the most empowering thoughts in the world, but if your body is slouched, your breath is shallow, your movement's timid, your nervous system is going to read that as fear. And it will project that fear in everything you do. But here's the good news: just like you can train your mind to think differently, you can train your body to feel differently. You can condition your physical state to signal power, certainty, and energy. And when you do, confidence becomes automatic. Think about it. When someone walks into a room radiating certainty, you feel it. You notice them before they speak. Their energy hits you before their words do. That presence, that undeniable force, is nothing they're born with. It's something they've practiced. It's a decision they've made moment by moment to master their state. And mastering your state starts with controlling your breath. Your breath is your remote control. When you're anxious, it gets fast and shallow. When you're depressed, it's slow and flat. But when you consciously breathe deeply with intention, when you fill your lungs and expand your chest, you signal your nervous system that you're in control. You tell your body, I've got this. Just changing how you breathe for 2 minutes can alter your emotional chemistry. That's how fast you can change your state. Now add movement to that. Physical movement is a pattern interrupt. It snaps you out of a spiral and into momentum. You ever notice how hard it is to be sad while dancing? Or how hard it is to feel weak when you're jumping up and down like a champion? That's because your body is commanding your brain, not the other way around. Confidence is not a thought you wait to have. It's a state you step into. This is why rituals matter. Champions don't leave their state to chance. They don't wait for confidence to show up. They generate it. They have triggers, move words, postures that instantly anchor them into power. Whether it's pounding their chest, shouting a mantra, standing in a victory pose, or just walking with presence, they use physiology to prime their psychology. And this isn't just about moments of hype, it's about consistency. You want to walk with confidence. Practice walking like someone who owns the ground they're walking on. You want to speak with certainty. Practice standing like someone whose voice matters every day. Use your body as a training ground. You're not faking anything, you're activating what's already inside you. And yes, it's going to feel uncomfortable at first. Your mind will tell you it's silly. It'll say, this isn't you. But that voice is the voice of your conditioning. It's the echo of past moments when you felt small and you're not that person anymore. You're building a new standard. And every time you embody that standard physically, every time you change your state on demand, you wire it deeper into your identity. You don't need a perfect life to be confident. You need a practiced state. And the more you condition that state, the faster it becomes automatic. When pressure hits, you don't crumble. You fire up. When uncertainty shows up, you don't shrink. You expand. You train your body to respond like a warrior even before your brain catches up. Think of it like an athlete in the arena. They don't rise to the occasion. They fall to the level of their training. So what are you training every day? Are you training power or passivity, certainty or hesitation, energy or exhaustion? You've got to move like the person you're becoming, not like the person you're trying to leave behind. Confidence isn't just something you feel when things go right. It's something you create when everything around you is uncertain. And your physiology is the fastest way to create it. Every time you control your breath, every time you take command of your body, you're sending a message to your nervous system. I'm not here to survive. I'm here to lead. So don't wait for confidence to show up. Get into motion. Change your state. Own your space. Breathe with intention. Stand like a leader. Move like a force, because when your body aligns with your vision, when your state supports your strategy, there is no limit to what you can create. Confidence becomes who you are, not something you chase. So here's the truth. Confidence isn't gifted. It's built. Every decision you make to rise instead of retreat, every moment you choose courage over comfort, every time you move with certainty even when your mind wavers, you are building the foundation of something unstoppable. This is your time to stop playing small, to stop letting fear narrate your story, to stand tall, breathe deep, take the shot, and own your life. Because the world doesn't respond to who you wish you were. It responds to who you decide to become. So decide today to become unshakable.